And welcome back, guys. Another episode of GhettoRig Podcast 308. My name is Jay, as you all know, and all the way to my right, we got my co-host Eddie. Behind the camera, Miggy Miggy, pushing the ones and
You're
twos. You know what, Miggy? I'm proud of you, bro. You haven't messed up in a very long time.
Now I'm gonna mess up next episode. Thank you.
You know, uh, you know.
You jinxed
Uh,
it.
Well, listen, I'm no, what's his name, the singer, um, the one that always bets, and then those fighters always lose.
I was gonna say hopefully not Dolly Parton.
No, no.
Drake.
Drake. I'm no Drake, so you're good, Miggy. Yeah, Dolly Parton did pass today, didn't she?
Didn't
How
know
old
who
was
she
she? She
was
was like
until
in her
today.
90s,
No,
wasn't
she
she?
was 80.
80 some?
She was
80
80.
on the dot. Damn, America lost an icon for sure, for sure.
You guys think getting to like that crazy of an age, like 90s, hundreds, is due to solely genetics, or do you think it can be like almost like trained, like with healthy eating habits?
So, there's this book, it's called Outliers, and it talks about this little village in Italy. And an average age of an old person there is like 90 or something like that. And they're talking about, it kind of starts with like the food and the healthy lifestyle and stuff like that, but it ultimately they boil it down to stress. And saying that they really like don't have a lot of stress, they're just kind of like very laid back, so on and so forth. Now, with that being said, during the Mustache Man era, when he was putting a bunch of people in concentration camps, the survivors of the concentration camps lived to be 100, 120, 110, 90, 95 years old. And a lot of people were saying, oh, well, it's due to fasting, right? Like, I mean, we call it fasting now. Before that, it was called starvation. You know what I mean? And they're saying,
That was a funny trend a couple months ago.
yeah,
What are you doing, dude? Fasting.
yeah. So, like, it's a very good question, right? Like, it's a very good question. Is it attributed to just genetics, the proclivity to prolong, like, live a long life, or does it have to do with either fasting or different way of eating? If I were to guess, I would say it's genetics because the survival of the fittest. If they were able to survive these harsh conditions of malnutrition, so on and so forth, they're just naturally hardy bodies, and it has to do something with the genetics, most likely. So I'm gonna chuck it to genetics,
I'd
but
say
I'm sure
both.
there's more to it.
I'd say both. I think genetically, like if you have a long line of people that don't get sick, you're like, cancer and things like that are genetic, um, that are very easily to be passed down, especially when someone gets old, right? Like it's almost just like a win. Is it gonna happen to a lot of people? I feel like in certain families, versus other people who live to 100. But at the same time, I think it is also a causal way of life. If you're gonna
Those people that
live
live to
like
be
shit for 50 years, you can't expect to like your body to come out of that and be able to go much longer.
those people that live to be that old, you always ask them like, what's the secret? I eat a dark chocolate bar every day. I
Yeah,
smoke 3 cigars a day.
yeah, no, no. So Eddie's partially right. Like your body will fight cancer several hundred times a day, right? Your cells will produce incorrect DNA, and your body actually like fights it. It destroys those DNAs, and the number one way of cancer taking hold is your body doesn't detect it, right? And then it just lets it proliferate, and then one cell becomes two, and so on and so forth, right? Now some people are more prone to that, the error in a genetic code not being picked up, and some people are less prone to that. Now, they're also attributed to telomeres because telomeres are basically the end caps of every gene, and with each division of a gene, they get shorter and shorter and shorter, and eventually the cell dies. You cannot multiply anymore. So as you get older, your telomeres are shorter, right? So I think with the age of AI, I think within the next 10 years, we'll solve what cancer is. I think what cancer is going to get solved much sooner. I think Moderna just patented the vaccine against cancer, mRNA vaccine. Um, so that's going to be done within the next couple of years, and I'm thinking within the next 10 years they're going to figure out a way how to make someone to live to be 150 years old at the very least on average. So um,
Moderna Merck's experimental personalized mRNA cancer vaccine called Intismeran autogene mRNA 4157 successfully met its goals in a major late stage phase 3 clinical trial for high risk melanoma. Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
that's
A lot
this
of
is
people get that
phase
one.
3, which means that it's human trials, I think, at this point. So it's not yet FDA approved, which makes sense because it is in phase 3. Um, but I mean, there's a lot of promising stuff that's coming over with AI. And the thing is, you no longer need to sit in front of the AI and tell AI what to do, right? Now the agentic AI is taking hold. So no, it's already like you talking to an AI that's already think of the past. You basically give it a task, and AI goes to work at this point. Um, so so it's gonna get done.
What do you guys think about data collection on us being more and more thing? Like now the flock cameras, like we've already gone through like the last year. That was kind of a big topic of all these companies selling our data,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like whether it be social media or
Mm-hmm.
even just you simply signing up on a website for their to buy their product or all over the place, and like everything from our car brands. I noticed this when I bought my Acura. It had like a little pop up that came up and said like, "Do you allow your data to be collected to be used for
Mm-hmm.
Acura?" Blah blah blah. Now that we have the flock cameras, I feel like this is the next viral thing that happened with the whole data collection thing. What's your take on the flock
So
cameras?
this is my take on flock cameras. The data collection and all of this, right? It the reason we're talking about it because it's happening to us. If you think about it, world has gotten safer and safer and safer with every decade, with every 100 years. It's gotten even more safe, more safe, more safe. The reason it's gotten this way is because we've implemented things throughout the history, like not exactly like the flock cameras, but similar things, like establishing police, establishing militaries, putting laws and orders in place, right? And these things were happening during the history at this day, during this decade or that decade or that decade. I think flock cameras are the next evolution of that. I think it is going to make the world safer, right? The flock cameras, but also there's going to be more surveillance, right? Right now, you cannot basically spit gum without somebody filming you, right? What difference does it make whether a flock camera is there or not, right? The only thing is like, oh, if the people catch you spitting gum, they can film you, technically get you in trouble, right? And then you pay $1,000 fee for littering. Now, flock camera is gonna start doing that. Overall, it's going to hold people accountable, and I think libertarians, within their core, they hate this idea, right? Because they should be able to do whatever they want to do as long as it's not hurting other people. Now, with that being said, I think overall it's going to make the world safer, but you're gonna have to give up certain privacies, right? With that, and just like with everything else, right? Right now, with internet the way it is, I mean, you can't really, like back in the day, you could go out there as a guy or as a girl, cheat, and nobody would ever know better, right? But now it doesn't work that way. You cheat, somebody opens their mouth, they'll find you on social media, they'll contact your significant other, whoop de do that, boom, boom, boom. Now it's done, right? So, like, that privacy part is kind of dwindling and going away, and the world is more open and more connected. So, I think it's the next chapter in human evolution, right? I think it's just gonna happen. Whether it's, I mean, China's already doing this. You know what I mean? They have the social credit system, and if you fall off that social credit system, you can't get loans, you can't get this, you can't get that. You're an untrusty person, right? Which makes you, um, which makes you strive to be a good citizen, good person, right? You can't just go and do fuck shit just because you want to do it, right? Now, with America being a little more individualistic, I think we're going to push back a little more towards it, but eventually it's going to happen.
Well, they already have the flock cameras
Yeah,
installed in a
people are
lot of
going
areas.
really hard against it because they did that. Red light cameras. Remember, a couple of
Right,
years
but
back we had them, and then they voted and they got rid of them.
yeah, here in St. Pete, you don't have to deal
Yeah,
with them. But once you
yeah,
get to like Clearwater and stuff,
yeah.
you
You
can get
still do
fucked.
it. Yeah, you get fucked. You're still under the cameras. Tampa,
My
same way.
my thing is like what I want to hear y'all's take on is more of like the data collection and that being sold to companies for private use.
Hmm.
Because that apparently is part of the whole thing,
Well,
right? Like even I heard one of the things which this one is like kind of cool in the sense, right? But some of them in the sense you're not gonna want people like these private companies having your data just directly through the government. It's kind of an invasion on privacy is what they look at it as, right? Like, but then you have, in one case, right, what I heard they're going to use it is maybe start using this information and selling it to Tesla. Apparently, is one of the deals, and they'll use it to know, like, for example, their autopilot's driving around and he sees this license plate in front of it. It's not a Tesla. It's being driven by an actual person. They can essentially, like, the autopilot can pull up a profile on, like, oh, who is this person? How good of a driver are they? Like, do I need to keep my distance? The kind of thing. Like, should I keep extra distance? Using that to like better the driving of the autopilot, gathering information of the drivers around it.
Yeah, I think they throw in Tesla in there. It's not just Tesla.
No, apparently it's thousands of companies who are already like in deal with to get this to get
Yeah, of
information
course.
from these flock
I mean,
cameras.
the number one thing would be in my head. It would be the insurance companies. Number one thing, insurance companies, where now you're gonna
I
get
think
a.
that's one of the ones I heard about.
Yeah, now you're gonna get a. Now you're gonna get a. Like, there's not gonna be any more shopping for insurance. It's just gonna be that's your profile. This is what you're gonna get, and that's that.
Any big, I guess you can say like type of market, whether that be electronics or car manufacturers or anything like that, that can profit from data like the ones they could get from these flock cameras, are gonna buy into it.
Of course they are. And they're
Now,
gonna,
what do you now? What on that? What do you think of the United States selling this info to these people?
I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like, world's gotten so small, and everybody's trying to cram stuff down your throat to buy, right? And they literally use the data for that to kind of sway you towards buying that. Like, even your own social media algorithm caters to that, right? Rabbit holes you to keep you longer on there. Like, majority of people are already on social media. That's happening to majority of people anyway, right? But this is happening with content. Now, what they're gonna do, they're just gonna do the same exact thing with products, right? They're gonna do the same exact thing with services and things like that. And at the end of the day, so if you have this idea in your head, like, there's a reason why you're looking some things up. There's some things that you're looking up just for purely knowing what it is. But back into your head, if you think about it, like, if I'm looking up how much a Porsche costs, right? That means I'm kind of wondering about Porsche, right? Whether I have money right now or I don't have money, I'm kind of want to have a Porsche, right? So if the data knows that, they're gonna start advertising more of Porsche geared content
So I
towards
get so
you,
much camera gear.
huh?
That why I get so much camera gear.
Pretty much, yeah.
I know. I'm just.
And they advertise that to you, and then it's gonna come down to. So the problem is not whether they're gonna collect this data. The problem is impulse, right? We're just so used to such a consumerist society where we just buy willy nilly
I
everything.
don't think it's just about them pushing their product on the consumer side that people are.
It's building a
giving a
profile about you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's. I mean, they're gonna build a profile about you, and it's gonna be fine. You know, majority of people, it's not gonna matter at all. If anything, they'll use that data to catch criminals faster, to do all of it. Like, they're not gonna come after you, Miggy, or I. They're just not gonna do that, right? They're
I mean,
the most you can
if
expect
Miggy-
somebody
Give
selling
to-
something
I
to
didn't
you.
give to share my opinion on that, but I agree with Jay. It would make the world safer, but at the same time, because we're human beings, we're willing to use that data for not good purposes.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
of course.
Again, it's not like somebody would be going after me, you, or Jay. But once we do become big, and there is somebody that's in control of that system and wants to fuck you over for whatever reason, they have the option to do that.
apparently one of the employees already got caught using it to track his wife.
Good. I mean, like,
What do you mean good? He shouldn't have access to just fucking,
No.
evil eye and be able to see everything what everyone's doing, just out of his fucking curiosity.
I get that. I mean, if you have to track your wife, that means there is, like, already something in there, and you're trying to get the proof for it. This is the time maybe for you to say, hey, I think this ran the course. Time to separate. You know what I mean?
But that's
Just to
besides
be
the point.
just to be the devil's advocate of that point as well, there are already like street cams that you can access across the world.
No, that's
as
true.
well.
But this is a way more sophisticated
Yeah.
system, right? That not everyone is supposed to just be able to go in there and be able to be like, oh, let me follow around
I mean,
Miguel for the next month and see what the fuck he's up to.
Yeah, so I think the privacy part, they're going to have to hammer that out, because it's not just following after the wife, right? Like the stalkers and so on and so forth. They're going to have to put some safeguards in place for that, right? Because Gonna be easier to stalk somebody, and I think it's more important for famous people, like so you don't know where they are necessarily. You know what I mean? Like what restaurant they're going to, where they eating, and
Do you think this is like the way to for the U.S. government to finally just kind of go, yeah, we're doing it with the like remember the whole Snowden thing, right? With the NSA, you know who Edward Snowden is,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
What
like,
what do you mean? I'm sure they're doing it already.
no, they have been, but there's always been like a that they claim they're not in.
They are.
You know what I mean? Do you think this is their way of finally like we're doing it?
Or like basically coming out. I'm coming out. They're coming
Yeah.
out of the closet on
Yeah,
this one.
and then not only are we like coming out of the closet, but like we're also saying, hey, it's not just the NSA that's gonna have access to this.
Yeah, I think behind it, I who's behind it is definitely like the insurance companies. Number one, government probably has a little chunk of it because they want to worry about like the wrongdoings and things like that. Insurance companies are out there to try to milk more money out of the drivers. Obviously, they're trying to make money. And at the end of the day, for example, let's just take insurance companies. If you're a good driver and there's no records on it, you don't break any rules, you don't break any laws, you use your blinkers, you do everything the way you're supposed to do. So they're not going to charge you much, right? They're going to charge you less. But somebody that's a reckless driver and constantly tries to race and do this and do that, they're just going to have high insurance. So you're going to have a choice. Continue doing what you want to do or abide by the rules and laws, right? Like that's why the rules and laws are in place. Like that's why we have speed limits and things like that. So I think overall it's a little bit utopian where they're trying to control what you're doing, I guess. But at the same time, there are rules. You don't like it, go vote. You know what I mean? Elect your officials. They're going to go against this. You know what I mean? So that's the bottom line, right? And I think what's going to happen, knowing United States and a society, they're going to vote. Like, you know, they're going to say, okay, we don't want this within our state or we don't want this in our city, so on and so forth, right? So, I mean, red light cameras were a thing and everybody's like, oh, red light cameras. But then they voted. They kicked them out, you know? So, it's catch 22. I mean, it's good and bad all at the same time, right? Like, there's no, there's no bad out of it, just bad. And there's no just good out of it. You know, it's both.
I didn't know this about police cars, but they have the automatic plate reader now.
Yeah.
It's integrated with the camera.
Yeah, they've had that
facing
for a
them
long
and the one
time.
that's outside.
Mm.
Yeah, they have.
And it automatically searches and it tells you if the license plate is a stolen vehicle. It tells you if the driver's license is suspended, if insurance is active, all that.
Yeah,
just
they,
by just driving.
they've had that for a while.
Now imagine this, like let's say your car, God forbid, gets stolen, right? Then within a couple of minutes, they're gonna be immediately figure out who it is, where it is, and go get the car, like right away, right? So these things are not gonna happen, which is going to stop a lot of criminals, which I am all for it. I'm all for like using this for the greater good of humanity. Now, are they gonna use it for greater bad of humanity? Yes, 100%. And that's gonna be the greedy companies coming in and trying to milk every penny out of it, knowing that you need XYZ item and they're gonna charge you more for it, and so on and so forth. So,
Did we talk about
Yeah.
this before on the pod? How Pokemon Go was Google's way of using people for data?
no.
It's probably one of the starts. I mean, I imagine now they're integrated everywhere, but
Yeah. They basically, the people just gave them a bunch of data for the free. You like download Pokemon Go around, start taking pictures around, look around the environment, and they didn't even know that.
Yeah, and they use that for their Google Maps or whatever.
And then they basically, I think, sold it for military purposes. I mean, like a lot of robots and AI use it. So
Well, I'm sure it didn't start this way. Somebody that was very smart said, "Hey, what if we do this and then we can buy them and then do that?" You know what I mean? It never start. Ideas never start that way. Ideas always start with a good intent, and then somebody comes around and says, "I can use this. I got enough dry powder. I can buy this and do a thing out of it." Right? So, it is what it is.
the Snowden thing was like that. Like that's how they showed in they made like a biopic of him,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that's how they showed it in that. Like he made like the system that the NSA was using to scan everybody and find all their shit and like instantly get into all their stuff, kind of keeping a profile on them. He made that system, but for something completely different, a completely different application.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was to like basically log files,
Mm.
and then they converted that into their mass surveillance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every idea starts with a good intent, right? So, um, because see, this what happens when you let people do whatever they want. Then you have anarchy. You have complete anarchy, and we've done that. We've done that in medieval times, and the world was a dark motherfucking place during those times, during that time period in history. So you can't. I hate to say this, but you cannot allow people to do whatever the fuck they want to do because people will fuck shit up, right? So do I like it that somebody's gonna follow me? Yes, but at the same time, I also know I'm not important enough. So what that they're following me? So what if they're gathering data? You know what I mean? Like I'm not that important, right? Now if I were somebody very important, then yeah, okay, no problem.
He's still in Russia. I
Yeah.
was looking into him the other. Yeah, he's his wife moved over there, and they've got two Russian boys that they've raising in Moscow. Apparently, he's like still really active online, like teaching and doing seminars and stuff.
They probably got all the information they needed from him, anyways.
What do you mean?
Russia, when they took him in, they didn't just let him come in. Oh, okay, yeah, that's it. You can live as a regular citizen. There was definitely some type of you have to give me this so that you can come over here. What other secrets can he reveal about the NSA and the government? You know.
I think, uh, yes, you could. I think you're probably right. There was some kind of definitely deal where they get something out of it, but I think Russia also did it as positive propaganda towards them.
Yeah, I think they were nobody's stupid, right? It's never just one thing. It's always a couple of things all together, grouped together. You know what I mean? Like to think that.
Not only is like behind closed doors is it a good deal, but in the public it's a good deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Oh, American whistleblower that came out and told us we're all being fucking watched by the NSA, that they can hack into our computer,
Yeah.
like do all this shit, and then Russia's like keeping him safe. Like we like this guy because he's coming out and telling us their fucking dirty ass secrets.
Yeah.
Right, to the average American people, that's how you kind of look at it.
So,
So like
he was actually he flew from Hong Kong to Russia.
Yeah, he was in
Then
China
he got
first.
stranded over there because his passport got cut off. So because he had nowhere to travel back to, he was basically just temporarily in Russia, and that later led to residency, and then that residency led to citizenship.
Yeah, he's now a Russian citizen.
yeah, so like if you think about it as a fight, right? Like as a boxing match, Russia and United States constantly take little jabs at each other. Jab, jab, jab. Snowden was maybe like a good cross. You know what I mean? That Russia took, but it still didn't put United States on their ass, right? Like we're still back
course
up. Like you know what I mean? So it's not a big deal. Nobody cares about Snowden. We continue to do what we want to do. Now, China has been taking a jab at us with TikTok for many, many years, right? And you know, we kind of said, oh, okay, it's going to be controlled by United States now, so on and so forth. But nothing changed. TikTok's still TikTok, right? Even though if the China is not gathering the data anymore, it doesn't matter. We're gathering the data. Who cares, right? Somebody's gathering the data, right? Like the whole idea, if you think about it, is, do I want to live in a Chinese regime? Of course not. Do I want to live in any other regime? Of course not. I like the United States regime. I'm okay with that, right? The problem is not that. The problem is, there are a bunch of rich people that live in the United States that don't want to lose the power and the money that they have accumulated, right? With them losing the power, and you know, money's gonna dwindle. Now they're not as important. Now they're not decided. So I don't know, man. Call it conspiracy theories. It is what it is, you know. Bottom line, that's why these uncles, they have these positions that they do because they're not idiots, right? They were able to get there one way or another way. So here's the bottom line, bro. You can be a multi millionaire, right? And live a very, very good life. You can have 50 to $100 million and live a good life. As long as you don't get involved in politics, you're fine. Nobody's gonna care for you. You can have your airplanes, you can have your boats, you can have whatever you want, right? As long as you don't get involved in politics and start stepping on toes. And I think that's what happens. A lot of times people start making money, now they want to step on toes because they're like, well, I know better since I'm successful, I know what I'm doing, I can make this better, right? So, and I think this is what happens. What you looking up, Miggy?
I had heard something about Article 4 being invoked by Poland,
Mm-hmm.
but this was actually last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, Poland's been very harsh on immigration, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I know
Um,
that.
they're
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 proud of. They're proud.
they're very proud of
Yeah.
it. Um, well, Poland. If you want to look at Poland, you have to kind of look at Poland throughout the history, right? And I think the closest thing you can think of, it's back in like late '70s when Poland was going against Russia, right? They were like, Russia occupied Poland back then, and Polish were pushing back hard, and that wasn't necessarily the reason Russia fell, but Poland was never one of those to sit there and be okay with some sort of occupation or some sort of a takeover and this and that, the third, right? That's how Polish people naturally are, right? So I'm not surprised that it's happening, and um, did y'all go ahead? What is it?
Just the definition for those
Mhm.
who don't know what Article 4 is. It's part of NATO's 14 Articles Treaty. The parties will consult together whenever, in the opinion of any of them, the territorial integrity, political independence, or security of any of the parties is threatened.
So
It's an Among Us meeting.
So yeah, they invoked the four probably because of the immigration stuff.
Uh, they invoked it because of drones.
Drones. Okay.
After shooting down Russian drones that entered its airspace on Wednesday, but this was back in 25
Mhm.
September. The incident came 3 days after Russia's largest air attack on Ukraine since the start of its. Oh, I remember. They used their drones from incoming from their area to launch attacks against Ukraine. The incident came 3 days after Russia's largest aerial strike on Ukraine since the start of its current invasion in 2022 and represents first time a NATO member is known to have fired shots since that war began. The article is not as well known as the treaty's Article 5, which stipulates that an attack on one of the military's alliance 32 member states is considered an attack on all.
Interesting. Let's see what's gonna happen there. Did you see that whole thing of that lady that offed her kids in a basement?
There's been so much bullshit going on in the world.
Yeah, and literally, bro, have you seen the Twitter on this? There was this one picture that went viral where the guy basically calls off his wedding several days prior to the wedding happening, and the future wife goes, "Are you serious? You're gonna do this over an opinion?" And the guy writes this whole essay. Is like, "Listen, it's not just an opinion. It's like a fundamental difference in understanding of life, and I don't think I can trust you with my future kids." Where these women are going there and defending her. And basically, some of them are reading star charts and saying that the husband did it and things like that. They don't believe she did it and things like that, which has been pretty crazy. And there's like millions of women been donating to the fund um, to get her basically free and saying she didn't do it, even though she admitted she did it, right? So that's been interesting. What is that?
These are shock gloves.
Now who?
ICE has been using these apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not this particular brand, but shock gloves.
To do
I
what?
heard about this. Defense thing.
Instead of using a taser, they just grab onto you and you just just melt.
Okay. Well, what's the big deal with that? I don't understand.
Um, I don't know. Let's see here. AP News.
Mm-hmm.
How do you activate them though?
They're probably just on at all
Like
times
pressure.
by pressure. Yeah, I don't know.
But you can't just shock the shit out of someone the whole time you're arresting them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you turn it on and off?
Who says?
Well, then once they fall
Who
on the
says
ground,
you
you turn that
can't?
bitch off.
Who says you can? You can.
When you'll stop somebody's heart,
Definitely
keep shocking them.
shouldn't. Yeah.
All right. Well, apparently AP is not wanting to open.
The FBI behind your computer stopped it.
The article's ICE plans to give officers gloves that can deliver electric. We can probably guess the rest.
Hmm. I mean, listen, I got a very, very simple thing. If somebody right now walks in your house, Eddie, and says, "Now I'm gonna start living here," what are you gonna do?
I got a little
Just
nine.
some.
I got a little 9 mil that fixes that.
Well, why? You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Why? My home?
Exactly. That's the whole point.
What?
If somebody comes to the country illegally and decides, "I'm gonna live
You
here,"
just made an immigration analogy.
yeah,
It's not as simple as that.
it is pretty simple as that.
No, it definitely isn't.
I mean, if you come into the country
The
illegally,
country isn't mine. I don't own the U.S. I'm just from here.
no, I understand. But if the
Definitely paid some rent.
no, but if somebody comes in to your
Taxes.
country illegally and they decide to live here by breaking your country's laws, I mean, now here's the thing. This is where the catch-22 comes in. If they're a criminal, if they're actually harming the society, this and that, then yeah. But if they're just a random person that works really hard and does a little farm work here and there, because we don't want to do that farm work, right? Maybe that's not such a big deal. But then at the end of the day, proponents can always say, well, if he wasn't there, he wasn't getting paid little amounts of money, then Americans would need to be hired, and then those people would need to pay more. But how are those people going to pay more is by selling the product for more. That means at the end of the day, us,
We pay for it.
we're paying for it, no matter what. So it's a catch-22, you know, because ain't no one of us is going to do farm work for $20 an hour. You know what I mean? Unless you're really, you know,
It's kind of hard. I think about it in like the full grand scheme, right? Okay, we have a bunch of people across the world that would love to move to the United States because they're in shitty scenarios.
Yep.
Right.
mm-hmm.
A large quantity of that is coming from South and Central America.
Yeah, because they're close.
Right. They're as
Mhm.
close as possible.
Mhm.
Right. It's like I think where is it that Germany is getting all these immigrants from? Is it India?
Turkey, India,
Right, but like
Pakistan.
same thing happens in Europe, right? The countries that are doing shit, people want to move to the countries that are doing better. Spain has a lot of immigrants. All these nice, first world, first world countries,
Yeah.
in Europe have a lot of immigrants from the neighboring countries that are
Yep.
not doing so well. And you kind of have to look at it and go, well, I don't blame these people, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to just better their lives,
They are.
right? And then at the same time, Americans are looking at it and going, well, they're coming in and doing this, this, and this, and that. Okay. And like almost like it's not our problem, right? Like we can't save everybody. It's just valid. Can't fucking to the whole world be like, hey, U.S. is free game. Come have fun here. That doesn't work either. But at the same time, you gotta look to those people and say, hey, where are you from?
Yeah.
America? No. No.
Well-
You're not. Your family, where are they from? They're going to be somewhere in Europe, more than likely, or wherever across the world.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this whole country was built on fucking immigration.
Well, no, that's true, and this is
So,
why.
that's why when I'm saying I don't understand, it's hard for me to say one or the other in a sense, because where do you call it?
No,
to-
no, that makes sense. That makes sense what you're saying. That makes sense. This is why you have the proper channels of coming here legally
But the 90% of the people that want to get here,
are not legal.
yeah, and not even able to go through those proper channels.
No, I
You know what I
understand.
mean?
I understand
Like
that. Mm.
freaking like let's not, we don't have to go far. Cubans, right? I know a lot of them who have gotten here legally. You know how long it fucking takes them? 2 years and a whole bunch of fucking money.
I know a lot more that came illegal.
Exactly.
No,
Came here
no,
illegally.
Well,
right?
yeah, but remember they fast tracked the Cubans. They fast tracked the Venezuelans, which was now revoked by the Trump administration. Like if you're from Venezuela, you could call all your family basically and take like 1 year, and everybody would get documents.
Yeah, but it also costs a bunch of money.
it does cost a bunch of money, of course.
Right? And a lot of people don't even have somebody to call in the US in the first place to get it all set up.
No, I get
Right.
that. I get that. I get that.
No, I'm just feeding both sides, right? Because like on the other hand, I do get it, right? It's like, well, we can't fucking accept everybody and save everybody. That's not
Well-
how this works either.
But there's also fundamental difference between cultures, right? You take one culture versus another culture. There's a fundamental difference, and when these cultures are coming in, they're starting to do things the way they were doing back home.
That's exactly what the entire U.S. is built on, anyways.
It is, but
Our
see,
culture isn't the same as New York's at all. Like very different.
not really, because American, like when I say this, you ever seen those videos of Ethiopians or I think they're like more of a northern Africa people that are trying to go up the escalators. They don't know what to do when they see the
No, I haven't
escalator.
seen it.
They don't know what to do with it. They
I know
literally
people
just like
from
staring
Dominican
at.
Republic that didn't know what the fuck to do when they saw an escalator.
Yeah, they're just staring at it. So this is just a one thing. You show them what to do, and then eventually will get it right. But there's like a fundamental difference in United States culture. Like we have a very individualistic society, and that's how our society operates, for good or bad. This is what it is. But then you bring it. It's a clash of cultures that's happening when you get massive amounts of immigrants that are coming in all at the same time. This is why you have the process by slowly bringing in small amounts where they can have time to acclimate and become more American. Now, if you take this, I lived in the United States for over 20 some years, right? I would consider myself more American than I am Lithuanian or Armenian. If I take you, even though you're Dominican, if I take you, even you're Cuban, you're more American than you are Dominican, and you're more American than you are Cuban. Yeah, yes, the Cuban part is in you. It's all good. It doesn't die. But you are part of this society. You do not throw curveballs. You do not throw sticks into the tires, right? By acting one way or another way without even knowing about it, right? So there's an acclimation process, and I think this is why they have that process set up where it's like let's trickle everybody in slowly, where we can acclimate people. We don't mind taking in. The problem is taking a lot. But here's the biggest issue. When you got Ocasio-Cortez, who's basically the runner-upper for the Democratic Party, going out there and saying, vote against Republican Party because they don't want immigrants here. They don't want you to vote in our. They don't want you vote. They don't want illegal immigrants here because they don't want you to vote against them. So, Democratic Party at this point, it's pretty clear cut. They wanted all these immigrants to come in so they can actually vote and vote democratically for them to win elections, right? Because we've already tapped out. We already gave the vote to women at this point. Women already vote overwhelmingly Democrat, and Democrats just lost. They literally lost, shamefully lost to Republican Party, to a Trump, to a clown, right? So they don't know what else to do. They've tapped out the society, and society is shifting a little more Republican in United States than it is shifting towards the liberal side, right? And that's why they're bringing new people in. Now, what problem it's solving actually? Bringing immigrants in, it's solving the birth replacement problem, right? There's more people dying in the United States than are being born, right now. And well, that's not true necessarily, but we're getting dangerously close to below replacement rate. At that point, you have to bring people in order to populate the society. You have to. There's no other way around it. So it's solving that issue, but then at the same time you have the cultural problem. Same time you have the thing of people coming in and they're just kind of like cutting corners, doing this, doing that. I mean, there's like a very big deal. Like Somalis were scamming the system, getting money that way. I overheard through a grapevine. I don't know how true this is. A lot of the Cubans from Miami and in this area are scamming the system with autism therapy and things like that. So there's a lot of the.
Something along the lines of transport.
Hmm?
I thought you were gonna say something along the lines of like transport.
The transport stuff is happening as well. I don't know how they're doing it yet. I haven't really gotten into it. I can talk to my buddy who's in it. He'll give me a better idea to how they're doing it and why they're doing it. But there's a lot of things that are people coming in and they're finding a hole, and they're like, as long as you don't take enough, nobody's gonna look at you, and they continuously like use the system to gain the access, right? Which is technically bad because taxpayers are the ones, we are the ones that are like suffering and paying that, right? But at the same time,
I look at that as a poverty issue, not an immigrant issue.
well, what do you mean it's a poverty issue?
Most of those people are all poor, and it's not just it's not just immigrants. You don't think poor Americans are taking advantage of all those scams too? Of course they are.
Well, no, poor Americans are not taking. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm talking about when I'm talking about therapy, like autism and stuff like that, creating companies and skimming the insurance companies, taking money from the government and insurance companies, but not providing the services, like covering it up. kind of like what they did with the daycares, Somali daycares, right? Very similar, very similar structure. Now, poor people are scamming it on a daily basis, right? Like they're like, oh, they have 6, 7 kids. They don't want to go to work, so they're scamming the government system to get the government
Okay,
cheese. You know.
I see what you're saying now, but I still think Americans are doing that same shit. I don't think it's a fucking immigrant issue to come in and scam the
I'm
system.
sure
You don't
Americans are
think
doing it.
What do you think they learned
it?
it?
It makes sense a little.
They learned it from someone.
But
It makes sense
it's
a
probably
little.
an American that knew the system in the first place.
I think what Jay is saying is maybe the Americans are not as hungry as the immigrants when it comes to looking for some type of loophole they could take advantage of.
No, I think they're just as hungry.
Because
I think if you were to,
Americans are not even aware that certain resources are available to them.
I think if you looked at it from a grand scale, I bet there's way more companies being ran by white dudes than immigrants on that case.
Not in the area that I'm talking about. In this area, it's heavily Cuban. In this specific area, Miami, St. Petersburg, Tampa area is heavily Cuban populated when it comes to that therapy and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not saying just therapy. I'm saying that type of scam in general. Having businesses
Could
that
be.
get
I haven't
government
really looked into it.
just businesses, small businesses in general, like get some kind of government support doing it the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all across the board. I don't think you could single out immigrants on that.
Of course. But at the same time, when it's an American that's doing that, it's one thing. But then, like, the immigrants are coming in and they're just kind of like spitting in the face of the country that's giving them a roof.
How about the American that's spitting in the face of the country where he was born?
I understand what you're saying,
It's
but
the same. It's the same.
but I understand what you're saying. Me as an immigrant that came to this country, I don't want to scam specifically the government system. I would not want to scam that.
Yeah, but most people don't give a shit.
I get that. I get that. But what I'm saying is like,
It's Uncle Sam, bro. Taking my tax money. Fuck you. That's how most people look at it.
Dude, my neighbor.
I get that.
My neighbor that died, he was a U.S. vet. He went to Vietnam. He had crazy papers and everything. Fucking frags detonated right next to him. And his hearing was blown out. Bro was nuts. He was the most anti-government person ever, and the reason was they cut him short on his check. He wouldn't get an actual military check because he would make a little bit over on his job or whatever, and because of that, they didn't give him his retirement or whatever the fuck it was.
Pension.
your pension, yeah. No, I get that. I get that. I get that there's a.
I'm pretty sure that dude died with a shit ton of credit card debt because he was like, I'm gonna die, have cancer, whatever it is, and he would chain smoking. He was gonna die.
Yeah.
Chain smoking, drink all day.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, at the end of the day, you have the good and a bad, right? You have to sit down and say, okay, is this a net loss or a net gain? That's what it has to come down to. Like that good old, let's draw a line down the middle of the paper and then count what's good and what's bad, and then we'll sum it all up and then we'll figure out if this is good idea or a bad idea, right? So this is what really comes down to, and it's up to each individual person to decide how it is and then vote accordingly, right? For one, I'm against scamming the government. I'm against it. I don't want to scam the government, and this just comes in with an idea because the government gave me a roof over my head. That's the least I can do to maintain that, right? And the people that are scamming it, that's fine. You go ahead and do that. I'm sure you're gonna get caught at one point or another point. I'm not gonna go out there and say, they doing it, this and that, the third. But at the same time, I don't want to be associated with you. Like if I find out, let's say a company that I'm working for is doing that, I'm like, sorry, but I gotta go. I don't want to be part of this. You know what I mean? Like you guys continue doing what you're doing. Let me find a job in a different way, and I'm gonna do it that way, the honest way, I guess. Whatever I consider to be honest way, right?
They're gonna go down the route where they're gonna get fucked. Uncle Sam don't fuck around, brother. That's unlimited money right there.
Yeah. Well, it's the government, right? They're gonna continue printing as long as you. All right, I don't know, man. It's a good thing, it's a bad thing at the same time, but I can also tell you, immigrants are one of the fucking hardest working people out there. If you take it overall, immigrants are one of the hardest working people out there, and you see them in construction all the time. You see them farming, specifically in blue collar work. They're very hard working, and then at one point when you reach certain levels of hierarchy or whatever in one company, you start seeing that you just being an immigrant and maybe being a little bit smarter than an average Joe is no longer valid because there are people out there at your level, if not above your level, that are natives.
I
You know
think
what I
part
mean?
of that could be the culture
Culture.
of not only just like hard working, but also in the sense of like stigmas around jobs, right? So I've known people that are Americans and there's Hispanics too, but they most of the time these Hispanics would be people that grew up as Americans like me. Um, that will look at a job like what I fucking did in high school, cleaning toilets. Go, I'll fucking never do that. Like you won't catch me fucking dead cleaning a
Mm.
toilet, right? And also that's because of like the separation stigma of like the people that clean toilets don't hang out with the bankers,
Mm.
right? Versus back home, everyone is with everyone. It's like you do what you do to get your money, and that has nothing to do with like
Yeah, because
who
they
you are as
understand
a
it's part
person.
of the yeah. Like, but the problem is, majority of the people, like let's say the white collar people, they have no idea how much it takes. Like, let's say if you have a cleaning company, you can clean up. Like, no one really pays attention to the guy that comes and cuts your grass. But if it's a big company, that guy's probably making 10 times more money than you are. You know what I'm saying? But they look down on him because he's just cutting grass, right? Like, oh, this is not like I have to work, go to school,
I
and
used to,
work
well,
really
when I
hard.
was growing up, I would tell my dad, "Oh, my dad's like a janitor, basically." I
Yeah,
mean, that's what he
yeah.
did.
But
I guess
little
And
did
then
I
they
know.
and
that
then they
guy's
come to my
cutting
house and say,
grass.
"Oh, you got a pool?"
Yeah,
I
You
guess
know,
cutting
like what the
grass,
fuck?
but by noon he's already done 30 lawns because he has two other people working for him, and they're fucking out there busting their ass since 5.
well, I'm not talking about like two other people. I'm talking about somebody that's cutting grass and they have like 10 trucks running. They have 20, 30 people working for them. I mean, these guys are cleaning million a year. You know what I mean? Uh, they're doing real well for themselves. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't understand, like, they don't understand that the white collar jobs are going to be pretty much done. Right now, if you were young and you had half a brain, you would buy a fucking blue collar job from somebody that's like 60, 70 years old that's been producing, right? You'd buy their job and continue doing what they're doing. You would walk in, use AI, eliminate a lot of the trim off a lot of that fat, the expenses off, like get rid of two of the secretaries, keep only one, implement AI for that, implement scheduling AI, doing all this, trim off all that fat, and run the company and make it more profitable. You know what I mean? And you can do it seller financed. Where you can say, hey, I'm going to be paying you X amount of money over the years. You know what I mean? So um, there's money to be made, and you can do it if you're smart about it. There's a reason why there's only so few people that are making this type of a money. An average person is not making that type of money. There's a reason if you're making $160,000, you're 10% of the United States earners. Top 10% earns $160,000, and top 1% earns $640,000. Top 1%, that's 3.4 million people out of 340 million. There's a reason just one in 100 is only making 650,000. And we're not talking about 3.5 million. When you're talking about 3.5 million, that's 0.1%. That's 340,000 people that are making $3.5 million a year. And I myself know at least several that are making that or more a year. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why these people are making this type of money and most are not. And most of those people are like in jobs where you're like, oh shit, I didn't even think you could make that kind of money in these jobs. You know what I mean? It takes a certain type of a person to get there, and a lot of people will hate on it and not understand how things work, not understand how quick it crumbles. And when somebody comes in and says something like that, and you know exactly what you're doing and what you're making, at that point it means you're in the wrong room. You need to upgrade your room. You know what I mean? Because those people are not at your level. So, it is what it is, though. You know, some of these, oh well.
I still don't trust AI very much.
Why not?
It still makes mistakes pretty often, and if I have to go through and check every little thing that they did, I might as well just wrote it myself in the first place, kind of thing, or just done the job myself.
Well, think about it this way. Think about it this
It
way.
helps a lot. I use it a lot. I
There's-
use fucking AI for probably 4 hours today. It was helping me with stuff, and it speeds up a lot of processes. But it's not to a point where I fully trust it, especially because of this whole it catering to you. Like, for example, let's say I tell it, I was doing boat listings today, right? So I had to make descriptions for the boats with all its features and shit like that. I did like 5 today, right? And let's say one of them was a yellowfin 36 foot, and then the next one was a Freeman whatever, and then like I would have to go back to do something for that yellowfin 36, and I'd say, hey, the yellowfin 36 you did, do this, make me this for it, right? And sometimes it'll just like pull information from random places instead of going, hey, I don't know exactly which one you're talking about. It'll just try and get the answer correctly and give it to me wrong just because it doesn't want to like it wants to cater, it wants to keep doing its
Yeah.
job correctly and not kind of admit mistakes almost, and a lot of people are having that issue with it. Like this one guy that apparently like almost like had a fucking anxiety attack because AI told him that he found something like groundbreaking that he needed to report to the officials, this and that, when ended up being some bullshit. Right?
Yeah. So there's this book. It's called How to Buy Back Your Time, right? And in the book, it talks about basically how to free up some time, and so on and so forth. And one number one issue that it was tackling in the book, one of the issues it was tackling in the book, is the employees, right? And the guy was saying, listen, you're not going to get anybody that's going to do your job 100% like you are. If you get somebody that does your job at 80%, you're a very, very lucky person. So here's my thing: if AI can do the job for you at 80% of what you can do, I think you're in a good place. Do you see what I mean? If you implement AI and all you what you're doing is fixing the 20%, that means whatever amount of time you would need to spend yourself doing that, he just did that. All you have to do go fix it a little bit.
Let me ask you this though: you manage people, right? So you know what it is to have to go check somebody's work.
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a task that you would have done, whatever, and gone through it and made sure it was all correct. Has it ever happened to you where you go to check the work and you miss something small because you didn't do it yourself almost, and you kind of just when you're scanning through it, like little things can get missed almost?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
of
see what
course,
I'm
I'm
saying?
sure. Yeah.
So like that can be my issue sometimes. Is like I'll have it do something for me, and then I'll check it. But because I didn't actually go through and write it all myself, I'm just kind of skimming through to make sure I got this, that, whatever right. It's very easy to pass over something, and that can be a big problem in the future with like a client getting pissed because this specific detail was incorrect or whatever.
No, I understand. I mean, those things are gonna happen, right? That's why you have the risk departments and companies and things like that, right? Like, as a small, let's say, as a small business, then yeah, those things are important. You want to provide the best service you can. Majority of big companies, they know they're gonna fuck up. They know what percentage they're gonna fuck up, and they're okay with their fuck ups. You know what I mean? Because they know they have enough cash to deal with the fuck ups. So it's much harder for a smaller creator versus a big company, right? When it comes to the fuck ups, you hold people accountable and things like that. But it happens. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just, cookie crumbles. What do you say? Talking to me?
I think yours is the closest one.
Yeah. What do you say? Like these talk about dinosaurs? What? What about dinosaurs? Not sure. I don't know. Let us know what you mean by talk about the dinosaurs. Is it better? Is it not killing your speakers? Anyway, so I don't know, man. I think AI is it. I'm probably gonna get. I've been wondering about the agentic AI. I want to get into it a little more. I haven't pulled the trigger on it because it is very expensive to get into it. It's either that or paying tokens. My start with paying tokens and then
What about
eventually get my own
what
computer
about
going.
the one that Nvidia built? They have a small like all-in-one PC that they built for like you to have your own.
But is it NVIDIA AI that you have to run?
I'm not sure.
Because I specifically want to use Hermes because Hermes is like open source. Can you pull it up, Miggy? Let's see what they're talking about.
Oh shit, it's expensive.
How much is it?
$5,200.
Yeah, there you go. Might as well just build your own, right?
Yes and no, not really. I mean, a PC, like we were talking about this the other day, right? And you were asking me about what kind of PC you would need, and I mean, with how pricing is on stuff and how demanding it is to run AI, a PC with the specs that you were telling me about the other day, it costs you $4,000 to $5,000 in the first place, right? And then the cool thing with this is kind of like the Apple of AI,
Mm.
right? Like I can go build a Windows PC that is capable of editing, right? But for a significant price less than that, I can just go buy a Mac that can be as capable or even more because Macs are optimized for that versus Windows isn't. Same thing with this kind of AI NVIDIA box, right? I don't know what they're calling
I
it.
see what you're saying. It's
The-
more specialized.
It's specialized to be an AI workstation
Now, would,
versus you building a computer.
now
Just
would
building
that
a
be able
computer
to
is
like? What's
do
the name
whatever.
of it? What's the name of
It's
it?
called the DGX Spark AI workstation.
Can you put it in ChatGPT? Actually, give us the answer. Yeah. Put. Yeah. Click. What's the name of it? Okay. Can you hit the speaker, please? Can you run Hermes on this with the brain of ChatGPT, the most advanced version? Let's see what the answer is here. Yes. If by Hermes you mean the Hermes agent, but yes. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
There seems to be a few different options to go with. Um, Damn.
What is that?
I'm saying Nvidia has come out with their own graphics card that are meant for AI processing rather than like the
Gaming?
traditional graphics cards for gaming and like editing and stuff.
That's
That's what I
perfect.
was looking at.
17 grand.
I was wondering in my head,
It's called the RTX 6000 Blackwell.
if they sell that, can I just get one that's commercially built for me?
The AI the Spark is built for commercial like consumer use.
Consumer,
Yeah,
yeah.
look. You can buy it right there.
Can I use it for
$5,200.
gaming now? That's what
That
I-
Nvidia might be the way to
Oh
go.
no, it's not for that.
Instead of fucking 8 gigabytes, let me just get like, what, 80 gigabytes of GPU, whatever the fuck it was.
Can
Let's
you-
see. What's this Blackwell GPU going for? Like, so it's 16,990, 17 grand for this Blackwell GPU. It's funny because it actually just looks like a normal GPU. Look, Mickey. But it's got 96 gigabytes of VRAM.
Yeah, let me get that bad boy.
Look at that DGX. What's the name of it?
DGX Spark.
Can you pull up that DGX Spark? Let's just go through it to see what the like full prices and all of it.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to find that. You're gonna have to contact them for that one.
No. That's what I was just showing you for 5 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, can you pull up on Nvidia's website itself? Yeah, so let's say by now, click on it. What do you do? Do you connect it to your laptop? Is that what you do? I don't understand. How
Yeah,
does this work?
It's basically used like a supercomputer dock, essentially. I think you could use it standalone though, probably.
So okay, I see what it is. That's the processing. That's the processing of the AI itself. You're still using your own computer or your own station, so you would need to have a computer that can handle this, right?
I don't think so.
No.
I think you could use it as a standalone unit. Cause it's got HDMI in the back and shit.
Yeah.
Like it's got all the computer connections you need to run like a standard computer.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely cannot run a data center on this, but you can do basic work that your agentic AI would need. You know what I mean?
I think the application for this is far beyond what like we would need, any of us, right? Like,
Which is good.
let's say you're trying to build an AI for your company, like big company or whatever, or you're building AIs for something, not necessarily just trying to use them for your everyday work. I think that's what this thing would more or less be. But yeah, you guys ready to wrap it up for today?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace.